All right, and then we move to the prelim main event. I know I don't break down the whole card, go cry about it, whatever, but we never do that. You guys know that. I'm just playing around. But for the lightweight division, the prelim main event in a banger, it's going to be a stand-up war between the number 14 ranked Drew Dober going up against the streaking contender at this point in Matt the Steamrolla Frevola. Matt Frevola versus Drew Dober is going to be one thing: pure, unadulterated, personified violence. These guys are going to be looking to walk forward, get in each other's face, and knock each other out. Matt Frevola is nowhere near as technical as a Drew Dober. He constantly is kind of moving his angle, changing his stances. He's got very big power off the back foot, and that's something you saw against Atman Azaitar, who came into that fight against Matt Frevola 13-0. So he handed Atman Azaitar his first loss. Azaitar looked off. He looked like he couldn't deal with the pressure of Frevola. He looked like he was kind of almost overbiting on a lot of the feints and the strikes, and he was like, I don't know what to do. And he kind of got himself out of position and just almost broke to the will of Matt Frevola. He got steamrolled, in my opinion. He landed some good shots, decent counters, but overall, Frevola was able to catch him off the back foot and knock him out in a fight where a lot of people were heavy on Atman Azaitar. Even though the line was close, I think it was minus 125 to plus 110 for Frevola as the underdog, but nobody expected him to knock out Azaitar in the first round, at least nobody I know. So I think that was a big win and a big eye-opener for Matt Frevola. But Drew Dober, comparing Drew Dober to Atman Azaitar, it's night and day. Drew Dober is such a technical Muay Thai striker. He loves to strike off that back foot rear side angle. I've talked about the rear side angles a lot in my breakdowns because I think it's something that not too many people talk about. A lot of people talk about lead foot advantages between orthodox and southpaw. A lot of people talk about getting the outside foot, which is all important. But the rear side angles against an opponent, when they move forward and you're able to shift off to your rear side, avoid their power, and then come back with your own power shots on the rear side angle where their defense might not be as effective, or if you're on that rear side angle, it forces the opponent to have to turn into you and, make a complete angle change in order to really get effective offense. It's like the outside foot positioning in terms of, technicality, but it's different. And a lot of people are really solid and really adapting the rear side counter angles where you shift off to that rear side. So if I'm a southpaw going up against an orthodox fighter, a lot of the times I'm going to want to get that lead right foot to the outside of the lead left foot. But with Drew Dober, he's very good at stepping back on that rear foot, planting on the power side, which would be his left side, avoiding the power shot of the opponent, and then firing the straight left, firing the overhand left, firing the left hook, since he is a southpaw, and landing the big counter. But the one person who was actually able to use that rear side counter against Drew Dober is somebody I think is really fallen off as of late, but I'm a big fan of, in Brad Quake Riddell. He was very good at kind of drawing Dober in, feinting off to that rear side, getting Dober to miss the shot, and then coming back with the right hand over the top. And that's actually what caused him to rock Drew Dober in that fight. Rock Drew Dober in that fight. Stepping to the rear side, bang, coming back with the counter as Dober missed the counter of his own, or missed the offense of his own. But when it comes to breaking down the fight stylistically, I think that both these guys are going to get in each other's face and go to war. But the one thing I think Drew Dober should not do is go to war with Matt Frevola. I think he can play the war at certain aspects, but he has to stay within himself in this fight. He has to stay a little bit more composed. But the thing about Drew Dober is even when he gets into wars, he is a composed fighter. Look at the fight with Bobby Green. He was getting pieced up in that first round, barely landed any offense, but still was moving forward, slipping his head off the center line, trying to land the left hand, get to the outside of the lead left foot of the orthodox fighter and Bobby Green, boom, trying to land the shot. I think Bobby Green's a southpaw, realistically, but he switches stances a lot because of his footwork, but he was constantly trying to get inside on Bobby Green, get inside, step to the outside of the lead foot, get inside, step to the outside of the lead foot, boom, come over the top with the overhand left. And eventually he was able to get Green up against the fence. And in getting Green up against the fence, it stops the back foot counters. It stops the backward movement. And like we talked about with the other fight with Santos and Munoz Jr., it really only forces you to be able to either move forward and pressure the fighter who's pressuring you, or to move left and right. So he was timing him. He timed one of his shoulder rolls where he countered right hook, overhand left, or right hook, straight left, caught Bobby Green on the chin and knocked him out. The only man to knock out Bobby King Green. And then in the fight against Terrence McKinney, that's a common opponent between Frevola and Dober. They both fought Terrence McKinney. McKinney knocked out Matt Frevola in the first round in 7 seconds. A 1-2 right down the middle, sat him down, knocked him out. Now, Frevola is a different fighter than the Terrence McKinney fight. And Terrence McKinney rocked Drew Dober multiple times with that knee right up the center as Dober tried to pressure Terrence McKinney. The length, the reach advantage, the length of McKinney was giving him so many problems. And coming up that center channel on a guy like Dober, who's more in a boxing Muay Thai style stance, who's going to be looking to roll, slip, pull, and counter. When he tried to lower his level, he ran right into the knee. But he didn't even really have to lower it because McKinney's so tall, long, and rangy for this division. He was able to just come right up that center channel and land that knee right on the chin of Dober, a la Dan Hooker. Drop him, hurt him, rock him. Dober comes back in the same round. Or I think it was the second round. He comes back. No, it was the same round. He comes back after getting dropped 2 or 3 times and knocks out Terrence McKinney from the ground with ground and pound. So I think it was a body shot originally, and then he just, let it on him and put him out. In the fight against Rafael Alves, I picked Alves to beat Drew Dober. Drew Dober comes in, has a little bit of trouble early on, gets caught with a big shot from Alves, gets hit with some good kicks, gets taken down, but is able to land that left shot to the body and drop Rafael Alves because he stayed within himself, because he was pushing forward, but he was looking to get the outside foot. He was looking to set up his angles and his counters. Drew Dober stays calm in a firefight. And the calmness of Dober, along with the overall much better technical ability than a Matt Frevola, I think he's going to knock out Matt Frevola. Now, Frevola's got good power. He's got a really good overhand right, likes to throw the inside left low kick to drag the opponent into the overhand right. He's got good overhands on the back foot, good hooks on the back foot, good uppercuts, but it's a lot of looping punches from the Steamrolla and Matt Frevola. And I think the straight punches paired with the looping punches of Dober are going to beat the much less technical fighter in Frevola. I know that Frevola's on a little bit of a run here. Drew Dober's on a run, but I think Drew Dober is going to run over the Steamrolla. He is going to be the Ayatollah of rock and rolla that destroys the Steamrolla Frevola in this fight. I think he's going to push him back. Frevola's going to get into a wild exchange, try to land looping hooks and uppercuts, and Dober's going to time him, land that straight left down the middle, land the right hook, land the uppercut, drop Matt Frevola, and get a TKO. So my pick is going to be Drew Dober to defeat Matt the Steamrolla Frevola via a second round knockout. I think he's just much too sharp for a guy like Frevola, and a guy in Frevola who, even though he has big power, even though he's decently technical offensively, he leaves a lot of holes defensively. And I think Dober's the better defensive fighter. He's got better back foot counters, better angles, better footwork, and that's going to lead to a knockout for Drew Dober. So give me Drew Dober, the number 14 ranked lightweight, to defeat Matt the Steamrolla Frevola via a second round knockout. I really like Dober in this matchup. I am a little bit worried because Dober is pretty hittable. I mean, he was getting pieced up against Bobby Green. He got caught with some big shots from Rafael Alves. He got rocked by Brad Riddell in their fight. I mean, he has some chin issues, but he's been durable. He's never been finished. Frevola has that power, even though it's awkward, even though it's crazy, he might be able to catch Dober and put him out. So I'm a little worried of the durability of Drew Dober, but overall, he's the much better fighter. I think he's got much better defense, much better offense in terms of footwork, lateral movement, in and out movement, angles from the lead side and the rear side, and back foot counters. I got to go with Drew Dober in this fight. So give me Drew Dober, the number 14 ranked lightweight, to defeat Matt the Steamrolla Frevola via second round knockout.